Hello, everyone. We're just going to wait a couple minutes to see if we get more people, okay? Hello, everyone. We're just going to give everyone, again, another minute so we can get started. All right. Sorry. Okay. Again, this is recorded and it will be placed on YouTube for those of you who want to watch it later. But just be aware of that. Again, we are not sharing any BCBA like test questions. Try to refrain from using any paid resources or specific client information. Again, if you are sharing things from open resources, free resources, please give credit where it's due. And again, we want to be respectful of each other, make sure that we have our mics turned off. I kind of let you guys decide when to turn on your mics just to create that discussion. But please be respectful and mindful of each other. We are all adults here, so I'd like for all of us to act as such. All right, so today let's get started. We have, I guess, an agenda prepared for us. We're going to go over how to state and plan for possible unwanted effects of reinforcement, how to state and plan for the possible unwanted effects of punishment, and stating and planning for possible unwanted effects of extinction. All right, so let's start off with the first section, stating and planning for the possible unwanted effects of reinforcement. Now, it's crazy to think that there are unwanted effects of reinforcement, considering how much we stress about using reinforcement and making sure that that's kind of, it's always used no matter what other type of procedures we are using. However, there are obviously some unwanted effects of reinforcement. Let's start off with the first one. So the first one is that it may kind of promote extrinsically motivated behaviors. So does anybody know what that means?
Their behavior to get the reinforcement will affect them doing the target behavior.
Do you have an example of them? Or anyone for that matter?
I do table with one of my clients. We give her candy, and in doing the imitation and listen responding skills, she tries to constantly reach for the candy. Oh.
Awesome. Okay. Right. So you might just like encourage extrinsically motivated behavior. So something that they're not. Oh, sorry, right. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, guys. Now we have, it may encourage other unwanted behaviors, meaning that if a client is being reinforced for saying, you know, give me the toy, and they're giving the toy, it might encourage other unwanted behaviors. So like if the child sees that them pinching a kid is getting them the toy a lot faster, that might kind of encourage that behavior a lot more because they're getting the reinforcement a lot faster than if they ask for it. We also have reinforcers maybe become the focus. So meaning that like the client's not focused to kind of complete the task, but they're more motivated by what they're receiving, which can distract you from the desired behavior. Kind of the example mentioned earlier about the client reaching over for the Skittles. Like some clients, that could be an example for that. Some clients could be very motivated by what they're receiving. So instead of following through with the task, they're just going to reach over for the Skittles because that's what they want to get. And again, it distracts them from what they're working for and before they get the Skittles. Another one is the desirable behavior may decrease when there are highly reinforced behaviors. So if you're teaching a client to ask for permission to use the iPad, but they see, again, that if they just yell, they get the iPad from their parents, they might just, it'll distract them from the desired behavior. So they might not ask for it because yelling is getting them what they want. And then the last one is reinforcement may not produce an immediate effect as punishment. This is just kind of, punishment sometimes might work a little bit fast or might produce a more immediate effect than reinforcement. So that's kind of an unwanted effect of reinforcement. Do those make sense? Again, this section is a little bit, it's kind of straightforward. But if you guys have any questions, let me know, or any examples that you want to kind of.
Where were you getting that list from?
I got part of it from Cooper, which I can just look for the page number. I also have the Cooper like international version, so my page numbers are completely different from like the regular version. But from there, and then I had notes from when I was studying, and I can't remember where I got that information from, but part of it was from Cooper.
Okay.
I'll look for the page number and see if I can take like a picture of it or something.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Okay. Let me make a note of that. Oops. All right. And now we're going over the unwanted effects of punishment. So, does anybody have any idea of what some unwanted effects of punishment could be?
Escape, avoidance, modeling the punisher's behavior, the punisher itself being reinforced.
So what do you mean by modeling of undesired behavior?
Like reprimands. So the child is constantly hearing his parents yell, no, don't do that. So they yell that at someone, like another peer.
Yeah. Perfect. Now you said escape and avoidance behaviors. What is an escape behavior? I mean, this is kind of for everyone to answer, not just Ashley. What is considered an escape behavior?
Like if you're giving giving instruction in school and it's a math assignment and you hate math, it's more reinforcing to you to get sort of punished for not doing your work. Or if you act up and start like, I don't know, ripping or screaming and the teacher sends you out, they're looking at it as punishment, but you're getting exactly what you want by escaping the demand.
Right. So like, for example, me asking a question during the Zoom and I'm like, hey guys, what is escape behavior? And then some of you guys start, talking to your kids, or you start opening up Facebook. That behavior would be escape behavior because you're kind of avoiding my task or what I'm asking for. But that's a good example, Christina. Thank you. Now we have, what was on? I think Ashley was kind of listing them. Do you mind going a little bit more? I mean, anything, or anybody else know anything else?
You're not providing any replacement behaviors.
Right, you're not providing any replacement behaviors. Why is that an unwanted effect?
Because the number one thing you always want to do is always go with reinforcement first. And if you don't provide a replacement and you're always punishing, there's really no MO for them to do the right thing, really.
Mm-hmm. That's right. All right. Another one could be the individual might become a conditioned punisher. So, for example, if I think Ashley was mentioning earlier with the reprimand. So if the parents constantly like, oh, don't do that, and then the kid is like, they stop doing what they're supposed to be doing. Now every time they see the parent, they automatically just like stop. like the parent can become a conditioned punisher, or I guess the person that's delivering the punisher becomes a conditioned punisher, or may become a conditioned punisher. Another one is behavioral contrast. Can somebody explain behavioral contrast? I think this is one that gets confused a little bit with the matching law.
They might do the behavior in one location, but not in another.
Does that mean they can do the behavior with one person and not with another person?
Behavior goes on 2 different schedules of reinforcement or punishment. So if it's being reinforced at one house, and it's a behavior you want to increase, then it might decrease at a different house or like a school setting.
Now, what if it's in the same household, but mom is reinforcing it one way and dad's not reinforcing it? So the behavior is happening more often with one than the other.
I think it has to be a different setting, right?
I was under the understanding, yes, but don't quote me.
Yeah, I've only seen settings. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen if mom and dad live separately.
Because if you said if mom and dad, like dad's not providing the reinforcement, that that would be like more of the extinction and differential reinforcement, or the SD and SDP.
Or one becomes a conditioned punisher.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't like asking, you guys are right. It is more with situations or settings. It's not across people. Or at least I haven't seen it across people from where I've read. But it is different settings. Perfect. All right.
I thought it was when a behavior is being changed in one location or by one person, and then it being reinforced, let's say, and then in another area or by another person even, it's not being reinforced. So either the behavior increases or decreases depending on what was going on the other side, kind of thing. Does that make sense? What I just said.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
So it could be based on 2 different people. It's just that it's a behavior contrast. So it's being, let's say, reinforced in one area, so then it increases, but in someplace else it's not being reinforced, or by someone else it's not being reinforced, so it decreases. It has the opposite effect.
So she was also asking Claudia, like, could it be in the same house with 2 different people?
Yeah, it could be, because let's say if mom is always, let's say mom does the program. Let's say the program is to reinforce the child, I don't know, to get dressed all by himself. And so she's always, oh, I'm sorry, my dog is barking. And so the mom is, let's say, always reinforcing the child to get dressed. And so he's starting to get dressed by himself, but the dad doesn't believe in it. So he keeps helping the kid. Hold on one second. Close the door. So then the kid is dressing himself even less because he's not being reinforced by the dad. And so you have a behavior contrast. You have a difference in the way the behavior is executed at that moment. Because one is under the effect of the intervention, but the other one isn't.
I agree with that.
So I don't think it has to be in a different location. It just has to be whether one is getting the intervention and the other one, in the other situation, they're not. But it could be wrong.
No, that's how okay, so I had given the example for me with regards to a client that I had, where he would kind of, there were 2 different therapists working with him, obviously in the same household, but so with me, he would always, he would try to hug me. So I would say like, no hugs, thank you. So because I kind of put that behavior on extinction, or I told him I wouldn't hug, he was hugging a lot more with the other therapist. So that would be considered behavioral contrast because it's a different situation. So that's kind of what it is. It's a situation or a setting, not necessarily like specifically like individuals. It's just a different situation, which could involve different individuals in the same environment.
Yeah, it's on page 337, and that is right. I just read it.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much for that page number. Yeah, okay, that was really good. I like that you guys kind of explained that out, and we get some clarification with that, and it seems like everybody seems to understand that, at least from the people that I heard talk. Perfect. All right. There's also emotional and aggressive reactions to aversive stimuli, meaning that if you're yelling to your child and like the reprimands, like stop doing that, the client might either, start crying, or they might start kicking because they're angry because you're not letting them do that. So that might be an unwanted effect of punishment. And maybe the punishment might actually be a reinforcer. So some kids who love attention, and any attention is good attention, and they're, I don't know, let's say kicking, and you're like, hey, stop it, that might be reinforcing to them. So we have to be very careful with what type of procedure we're following. All right. Now we have stating and planning for possible unwanted effects of extinction.
Oh, by the way, side effects and problems with punishment, if you guys want to read more on the other ones, it's page 336 into 337, etc.
Oh, awesome. Is that in Cooper?
Yeah, so it's chapter 14, which is titled Punishment by Stimulus Presentation, but it's got all of those. So if you guys want to go back and look at it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Got it.
All right. So now that we have gone over unwanted effects of punishment and reinforcement, what are some unwanted effects of extinction?
Burst.
Yeah.
Yeah, an extinction burst, exactly. What is an extinction burst? Oh, Erica put extinction burst and spontaneous recovery. Can somebody explain the difference between extinction burst and spontaneous recovery?
Spontaneous recovery happens after the extinction burst.
Yep.
So the extinction burst is, okay, so I'm not getting reinforced immediately for this, so I'm going to do it like more and more and more and more and more. And then spontaneous recovery is after the extinction burst has ended and the behavior has like leveled off.
So
Spontaneous recovery is, hey, I'm just going to try this again, see if this works.
Yeah. Can it be directly after extinction burst? So let's say extinction burst happened right now where the client just started pushing all the buttons, and then could next section be like spontaneous recovery?
No, because there has to be time in between.
Yeah, perfect. That's exactly it. There needs to be time between, like extinction has to be in place for a while before spontaneous recovery happens.
Right. Just like there's time in between the extinction of dinosaurs and then they find fossils.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good example.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It makes sense. It's a good way to remember it for sure. Right. Now, what is the difference between extinction burst and resistance to extinction?
That's a good one. I'll let somebody else answer.
I think it could look similar at first, but resistant to extinction is when something has been reinforced intermittently previously, so it's much harder to get rid of. So
I think resistance to extinction is that the topography of the behavior is the same. Like if you are pushing a button, you will keep on pushing the button. But extinction burst, there's a variation in the behavior. That's my understanding of the thing.
No, that's exactly it. Like an example for that would be, so for me, I ask questions on the Zoom all the time. And let's say I'm going to use Ashley because she's been with us for a little bit longer. And I'm going to say every single time I ask a question, Ashley answers. So I ask more questions. So all of a sudden Ashley's like, I hate when Daphne asks questions. I'm going to put it on extinction. And she says, she stops answering my questions. So I ask her, I'm like, hey, how are you? And she doesn't answer. I'm like, what's up? Like, how's it going? She's not answering. So extinction burst would be me asking her like 1,000 questions at like once. I'm like, hey, how are you? How's it going? How's your baby? When are you getting married? How is your fiance? Blah, 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 blah. And kind of make it instead of just the casual 5 questions that I used to ask, I'm asking 10 to 15 questions, even though she's not providing that reinforcement, which is answering my questions. Now, the resistance to extinction would be me asking just those 5 questions, even though I'm not getting any reinforcement, to see if I will get that reinforcement. So if I usually ask her 5 questions and she's putting me on extinction, resistance to extinction would be me asking those 5 questions, whereas extinction burst would be me asking like 5 times the amount of questions that I used to ask.
But what's the difference between the two?
That one, you go like to an extreme. Extinction burst, you go to the extreme of it, whereas like with resistance to extinction, you ask or you behave in that behavior at the same intensity as you used to.
Okay.
So what's the magnitude that's the difference?
Yes.
Okay.
I hope that makes sense to you guys. I have a question following up, so like we'll kind of answer some things because I have a couple mock questions at the end. Perfect. All right, so we're gonna get straight to this. We have mock question time. Again, this section's a little bit faster. There are only 3 parts of task list section C, so I created a couple questions. All right, here's the first one, and I'm gonna read it for those who are listening to it and can't look at the screen. So we have, which of the following is not a possible unwanted effect of reinforcement? A, it may bring other unwanted behavior. B, reinforcers might become distractors from target behavior. C, reinforcement might not produce extinction. And D, other desirable behaviors may decrease when around other highly reinforced behaviors.
C.
Okay, I hear a C.
So we need to look at the question, and which is not a possible unwanted side effect. So we have the double negative, so we have to break it down. Like the double negative is a positive. Am I wrong?
Yeah, so like, right, so then how would you answer the question? Somebody else in the comments put C, so we'll see.
Which of the following is a wanted effect of reinforcement?
Right.
Like you have to break that down. Double negatives equal to positives, so they just cancel each other out.
Well, maybe I just wrote it weird, but I'm just kind of answering, I'm asking as in, like, we just went over possible unwanted effects of reinforcement. Which of the following is not part of those unwanted effects of reinforcement?
I might be looking too far into it.
No, I read it. No, yeah, I read it the same way, and that's how I would have answered it too.
My bad.
Yeah, I would have done just.
So it's like it's either you were trying to find a possible effect or an unwanted effect, and it's the not an unwanted. So I don't know who said that before, but you would be correct by the way that's worded.
My bad. Well,
it's okay. That's why we're trying to figure out what you're asking.
So which, out of the possible unwanted effects of reinforcement, which one of these does not belong?
Out of the possible.
You guys are thinking way too much into it.
I think so too, Ashley.
Yes, I agree 100%.
Yeah,
I think how much you were paying attention.
Like out of the list of unwanted, which one is not?
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is just to test kind of what we went over. It's not to manipulate the way you're answering the question. I know someone with the username Sarah, she put C. I think Ashley, you said C. Anybody else think otherwise? So let's go over A. Is A an unwanted effect of reinforcement?
Just really confused by the.
Let's look at it. What are possible unwanted effects of reinforcement?
Yeah, we can probably reinforce inadvertently other behaviors.
So A is an unwanted effect of reinforcement, so A is not the answer. B, reinforcers become distractors for target behavior.
Yes, that is an unwanted effect.
That is an unwanted effect. So B is not the answer. C, does reinforcement not produce extinction?
I haven't heard of that one.
Yep. Reinforcement and extinction this is not something that they're related in. So there's reinforcement does not produce extinction, and extinction does not necessarily produce reinforcement. So that could be an option. And then we have, do other behaviors decrease when around highly reinforced behaviors?
I would say yes.
Yes. So A, B, and D are possible unwanted effects of reinforcement. The question is asking which is not a possible unwanted effect of reinforcement, and the answer would be C. Does that make sense? If you're not overthinking the question or looking at my Okay. Thank you, Erica. Perfect. All right. This either way, well, it is what it is. We can keep going. Let's try this one. Hopefully this one's not too bad. Which of these is an example of positive punishment? A, Daphne needs to post a question on Facebook. For every post, she gets a star. So now Daphne has been posting without missing a day. B, Daphne likes to sing in the shower every day. One day her sister said, wow, you sound very nice. Oh, shoot, that's supposed to be a now. Now Daphne does not sing in the shower. And C, a teacher takes away a star from her students when they don't follow directions. D, none of these represent positive punishment.
B.
Okay, B. I hear a lot of B's. Why isn't that A?
Because that's reinforcement.
That
She's
is.
been doing the behavior more often.
What type of reinforcement is it?
Positive.
What is another AKA for positive reinforcement?
SR plus.
Okay. Is type 1 reinforcement a type of positive reinforcement? Is it an AKA for positive reinforcement?
Type 1, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just remember those AKAs, people. All right. Why is C not it?
Negative, it's taking away.
It doesn't say if the behavior increases
exactly.
or decreases.
That's exactly right, Kelly. We don't have any information beside what we get. And then D, obviously, is not correct because B is correct. Again, for positive punishment, it doesn't have to be something like negative. Like my sister could have been like, wow, you sound horrible when you're singing in a shower. It could be something like positive, like she said, you sound really nice. And that just kind of made me shy and now I don't want to sing. So just keep that in mind. So the answer is B. All right, we have this one, which is an example of behavioral contrast. So this one might be a little funky, so hopefully it makes sense. A, the client is touching private part with mom and dad when they tell him not to touch. B, client engages in touching private area, so their parents use a DRO procedure to reduce the behavior. Now the client is not touching private area. C, client engages in touching private area, so their parent use a DRO procedure to reduce the behavior. Now the client is not touching private area around parents, but are doing it around the babysitter. D, client engages in touching private areas, so their parents use a DRO procedure to reduce the behavior. Now the client is touching private area more.
C.
It's kind of C, but I think it's supposed to be increasing on the other side, not just continuing to do it. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, it makes sense.
But looks like it's decreasing on the on one side.
He's not touching his private area around parents, but he's now doing it around, and now he's doing it around the babysitter. So it has.
Yeah, it's reducing in one area, but not reducing in another.
Yep, and I see in the comments that it's C, exactly it. It's not A because we don't have any information. We just know parents told him not to touch, but we don't know if he's doing it in another environment, if he's doing it in a different situation. With B, it looks like it worked really well, but we don't have, we don't have any information about different situations. And then the only reason C makes sense is because he was doing it around the parents and now he's doing it around the babysitter. Or he's not doing it anymore around the parents, but now his behavior's around the babysitter. So it changed into a different situation. So the answer is C. This one, which of the following is not an unwanted effect of punishment? This is very similar to the question above, so don't overthink it. A, emotional reactions to a stimuli. B, punishment be a reinforcer. C, planned ignoring causes avoidance behaviors. And D, individual might become a conditioned punisher.
B.
C.
All right, I hear C. I hear two C's. I'll wait for one more answer before I give you guys the answer.
I said a
C.
B.
Okay.
C.
So I've gotten B and C. So yes, with A is emotional reactions to stimuli. Yes. So an unwanted effect of punishment, you might get emotional reactions to stimuli. D is also the individual might become a conditioned punisher, like we mentioned above. That's an unwanted effect of punishment. Now, the reason it's C, I'm sorry, guys. The reason it's C, it's because there's nothing about planning, ignoring, causing avoidance behavior. Like, this is kind of just some extra information. There's nothing specific about plan, ignoring, causing avoidance behaviors. And punishment can become a reinforcer. So this is an unwanted effect of punishment. Does this one make sense?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. The answer is C. Now, true or false, extinction removes reinforcement and provides an alternative way of behaving.
False.
False, why is it false?
It doesn't provide an alternative way of behaving.
Exactly. Which other does not provide an alternative way of behaving?
Punishment.
Punishment procedure. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Erica, for putting that in the comments. F, and then we have true or false. Spontaneous recovery happens after extinction has been in place for some time.
True.
Exactly. True. Again, keyword is after extinction and then in place for some time. Yep, that's the answer. All right, guys. So this is kind of all I have for you guys this time around. Thank you so much for participating. I heard a bunch of new voices this time around and a bunch of people in the comments that I hadn't seen comment before, so I really appreciate it. Do you guys have any questions? I mean, I hope not. Again, I think it was Christina was really kind enough to reveal the pages for Cooper, so that's kind of settled. And yeah, again, the rest of the week we're going to go over section C, so feel free to join the other Zooms if you are available. If not, I'll see you guys next week for our next task list section. Again, follow us on Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, all those fun stuff. Subscribe to our channel. And then these are the references. Thank you guys so much and have a good rest of your night and a great start to your week.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Thanks.